Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining me today. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome you and thank you for joining the challenge. And I'm so glad that you're here. I'm wondering if you could let me know where you're joining from. Like, what's your name and where are you logging in from? Where in the world are you? Let's see. Tammy from Louisville, Kentucky. Okay, thank you, Tammy, for joining. I appreciate you being here. My name is Deanne Day, and I am logging in from Indianapolis, Indiana. And what can you tell me? You can put it in the chat or you can unmute yourself, whichever you're comfortable with. What is the goal that you are wanting to work on for the next 100 days? My goal, while you're typing it in, I'll share my goal. My goal is I want to do some type of physical activity 5 days a week. And I also want to cut out sugar and flour from my diet. And so if I had to rate myself, I think I would give myself a D at first. I mean, a C. At first, I was saying I would give myself a D because I have really been struggling with the piece on cutting out sugar. But I did actually get 5 workouts in this week. So I think I would give myself a C because I'm hitting the target for the movement and the physical activity. But as far as the sugar is concerned, I've been having all kind of sugar and I'm really struggling with that. So that's something that I really want to focus on this week. How about you? Would you like to share your goal? You're trying to get over a breakup. Okay. That's awesome. Sorry to hear that's something that you're struggling with. Is there specific things that you want to do to help you get over the breakup? Like maybe instead of thinking of this person, I want to focus my attention on this other thing instead. Uh, Let me know if anything comes to mind. Um, so I'm looking forward to working with you in this challenge. It looks like so far we're the only ones here. So I'm going to go ahead and move on. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. So I have been coaching for about 7 years and I'm a general life coach. So what that means is I don't have a specific niche. Like I'm not like a weight loss coach or a business coach or like a specific niche. I can coach anyone on anything. And it's because I focus on mindset. I focus on helping my clients develop the mindset that they need in order to get the results that they want to be able to get. And so I have the different certifications that I've earned as a life coach listed on the slide. But what's most important to me is my passion for self-coaching, because, sometimes people can't access a coach, but if you learn the skill of self-coaching, that is something that you can implement on a day-to-day basis whenever you need it at any moment. And so it's something that I've used a lot and something that I like to teach my clients to use a lot. And it's also what I'm going to be kind of teaching and promoting in this challenge is the skill of self-coaching. And so this challenge is basically about coaching yourself daily, asking yourself kind of questions that might get you thinking outside of the box, get you kind of focused more on the goal that you have set in front of you and actually taking steps and working toward it. And then so you will pick one goal And then you'll focus on that one specific goal throughout the entire challenge. And then you'll also get daily self-coaching prompts. And the goal is that when you're answering the questions for these daily self-coaching prompts, you're going to answer the question with your specific goal in mind. So, like, if I ask, when I send out a question, you might answer it with the thought that you are trying to get over this breakup. So, like, one of the questions was like, if you could create your ideal life, like what would that look like? And what are some steps you can take this week to help you reach that ideal life? Well, you would answer that question with the goal in mind of getting over the breakup. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, what do you want your life to look like now that this relationship has been is no more, right? And so, hello? So you will keep the different self-coaching concepts in mind, and it'll get your mind and your brain kind of moving in the direction that it needs to be moving so that you can get over the breakup, or so that I can stop eating so much sugar, or I can start working out or keep working out 5 times a week. So last week, we do, and then also we'll have the check-ins once a week. So last week, the concept that I covered was the concept of the slight edge. And so basically the slight edge is a concept where it's all about taking small daily actions that can compound over time and lead to a bigger result. So it's about choosing to do little things consistently. And in the moment when you choose to do that little thing, or if you choose not to do that little thing, it's not going to have a grand impact right in that moment. But over time, if you keep choosing that little thing over and over and over again, like if I keep choosing to take 15-minute walks or 20-minute walks over and over again, and if I keep choosing meals that don't include sugar over and over and over again, I'm going to eventually get the health result that I want. And also, if I keep choosing not to take the 15-minute walk and to keep eating sugar, then I'm going to get the opposite of what I want. So just making small decisions that in the moment might not like, it might not change things, but it compounds over time and things will eventually change. So that's what we kind of covered last week. You have access to last week's call. I don't know if you got to see it or not, but I sent out the recording. Um, and so this week, I kind of wanted to reflect on a little bit of the slight edge. So let's take a moment to reflect on how the slight edge showed up for you in this past week. So I have 2 questions that I'd like you to take a moment to answer. You can either answer both of them or just pick the one that is speaking to you. Um, one of the questions is, what one action, or no, what was the most rewarding small action you took last week, and how did it contribute to your overall goal? That's one question. The next question is, what's one action you can focus on this week? And if it's done consistently, how like it would have a lasting impact on your overall goal. So I like to give us a couple of minutes just to think through those questions. And then if you're open to it, you could share in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and share, and then we can go from there. So any questions so far or thoughts so far?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna play a little bit of like light music, give us maybe about, I don't know, a couple minutes to think through those questions. And like I said, you can answer both of them or one of them. And I guess it would be I'm going to be focusing on um, what what small action did I take last week, and how did it contribute to my overall challenge goal of not eating sugar or um, getting a physical workout in. And then you can do yours on your goal, which is getting over this breakup. I'll give us about between 3 to 5 minutes.
Okay.
But when you're done, if you could click an emoji or just let me know that you're done, then we can go ahead and start back up if you don't need the whole 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I think you signaled to me that you are good, you're done, and I was just wrapping up too. So, okay, if you'd like to share, I would love to hear what you have said. I'll go first, and then if you could write it in the chat or you could share. But as far as reflecting on what I did last week, that kind of like contributed to my overall goal is normally when I think of working out, I think of going to the gym and like doing an hour workout, at least 30 minutes on the elliptical, and then maybe some strength training. And I just didn't do it. Like I was supposed to go Monday and I just didn't wake up and do it. But on Tuesday, when I was driving home from work, I had on an outfit, like I had on tennis shoes and a comfortable outfit. And I was like, I should just go to the park and just walk, right? And not focus on the fact that I'm not going to the gym because walking counts. And so I just went to the park after work, did some nature trails. They had some hills, so I did get a good little workout in. And I did that. I just went to the park and I just kept going back to the park. That's how I got my 5 days of working out, is because instead of thinking of doing this big, like I gotta go to the gym, it's gotta be an hour, I gotta be on the elliptical. I just went to the park and did that and I kept doing that over and over again. I live down the street from the park, so it's very simple for me to get there or very simple for me to go on my way home. So that one little thing, just drive to the park, helped me reach my goal. And so, yeah. So how about you? Did you want to share something that you did last week? I don't know if that's one of the questions you answered, or did you do the future focused one?
Yeah, I started taking my dog to the dog park. I finally got him a membership. And so I've been doing that when I get off. I work from home, so when I'm done with work, I take him to the dog park. And so, he gets to play and I'm getting to know the regulars at the dog park. So, uh, so that's a nice distraction for me so that I'm not
Mhm.
constantly thinking about my ex um, and so that's been nice. That's helped. I'm getting more, just they're not really friends right now, they're more acquaintances, but
Uh-huh.
it really helps a lot to get out of your head.
Yep. Get out of your house, get out of your head, talking to new people,
Mhm.
and then they could probably give you new things to think about. And then you have something to look forward to, like going back. And
Mhm.
you might see the same people, or you might meet a new person. And it's cool because your dog can help you meet people. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
so that's great. Thanks for sharing that. I think that's awesome that you're doing that. And it's like something very small, like let me just go to this park, but it's also really big and it can add up to something that's going to help you get to where you're trying to go.
Mhm.
All right, so the next question was, what's one action you can focus on this week that if it's done consistently, it would have a lasting impact on your overall goal? And so for my answer, I put continuing just to do, like, instead of thinking I gotta go to the gym and do this big hour and all that, just focus on getting a little 15 to 20 minute walk in, or maybe doing a little 15 to 20 minute YouTube video at home or some type of home workout, because I do have some equipment at home. So just like starting and just committing to like 10 to 15 minutes. And normally, once I get started, I notice that I'll do more than 10 to 15 minutes. But if I make it like a small commitment, then I feel like that just kind of helps me get started. And then also, not something I want to try is not eating after 8:30, because I told you I'm trying to work on lowering the amount of sugar that I take. I
Mhm.
usually eat a lot at night. Like I can go all day and I'll do really good and I'll meal prep and do all these things. But then after, it's like at night, that's when I just start snacking and it just
Yeah.
ruins everything that I did for the day. So if I can just not eat after 8:30, that's gonna be my like small thing that I try to do, and go to bed on time, because the later I'm up and I'm like, oh, I want a snack. But if I could just go to bed on time, then there won't be that much time to like be snacking because I'll be asleep. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. How about you?
Um, I need to start focusing more on why the relationship didn't work instead of, I pretty much just I miss him and I just, I have think about this idealized version of the relationship and I mean it wasn't good for a while. It was fall, kind of falling apart. He doesn't communicate. I mean, he just doesn't. And
Mhm.
so I have to think about those things and think about how I was really feeling. And instead of, right now I'm just like, oh, I miss him and, I love him. And because he broke up with me, I didn't have anything to do with it. So, and that's not being actually very realistic or honest. And it doesn't help me, move on. I need to remember what, what didn't work and why it didn't work and why it would never work. It's, you know, it wouldn't be a good idea to get back together with him,
Mhm.
Uh, so yeah, I just need to think about just being honest about how I really felt instead of idealizing, oh, I loved him so much, but I got hurt a lot.
Mm,
And,
yeah,
even though it's kind of painful to remember that, I need to honor my feelings and just be realistic about it. And, you know, if I'm not honest about it and I keep on with this, this idea that it was some great love affair and now it's over, it's because that's not really the way it was.
yeah,
Why
yeah.
do we want to
So,
think that? I don't know.
so kind of like, um, not making a, well, I guess you could make a list, but like thinking of all the things that you got instead of all the things that you wanted.
Yeah,
Because it sounds like you weren't getting what you wanted. He wasn't being what you needed or what you wanted. But now that he's gone, it's like you only remember the good things.
yeah, yeah,
And then you want to remember why, like, I guess why this breakup, like, why you're benefiting from this breakup.
right. Because
Because now you, go ahead.
I mean, intellectually, I can see that it's better to end it. I mean, it really is. He's not going to change, and he doesn't, like I said, he doesn't communicate, and he'll, his thing is if he gets upset about something, then I'll get the silent treatment for a few days, and get nothing from him. And
Mhm.
then after he sits there for 3 days and ruminates over whatever he's upset about and obsesses over it, then it's like it's too late to do anything about it then because that's his truth now and he doesn't want to talk about it. And you can't, well, you just can't have a relationship with somebody that you can't talk to and can't discuss things with.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I have to remember that you know, the struggles that I went through, trying to get him to talk to me and how many times, he hurt
hmm,
my feelings and it's, I mean, it hurts to think about those things, but it's better to be honest about it than, trying to
yeah.
believe that this was, I mean, yeah, it was great for,
Like you lost the best thing you've ever had when really that's not the truth.
yeah, that's not true. That's not,
Yeah. So
um,
what's like the one thing that you feel like you want to do consistently this week that can um help you remember or help you kind of focus on what like how you benefit from this breakup? Like if I do this every single day, this is going to be a reminder to me of why I'm actually benefiting from this breakup.
that's my, I guess that's my problem. It's like, I wish I knew, what can I do? Um, because I just, as it is right now, I mean, he's like the first thing I think about when I wake up and the last thing I think about before I go to bed. And I would like for that to stop.
Hmm.
Um, Mostly I just try distracting myself, but sometimes I'll tell myself it's like, actually, you know, I'm free now, although I'm not interested in rushing into another relationship because I obviously made some mistakes and I'd rather not repeat them. But but it's true. I mean, I now I am free to meet somebody else, and I don't, I guess that the reason that doesn't seem so good to me like right now is because, like I said, I obviously have some things I have to work on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so uh, go ahead.
Let me ask you this. Let's just say it's 6 months from now. So it's January. I don't know if that's 6 months or not.
Okay, close enough.
But it's 6 months from now, and you have decided, or you have completely moved on. You're not thinking of him when you wake up. You're not thinking of him when you go to bed. Like you're in a completely good space. You are where you imagine you want to be. Like now, when you're talking to me, 6 months from now, you're exactly where you want to be with getting over this relationship. What has changed?
You ask tough questions.
That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm a life coach. But what has changed though? Like what has changed about you? Like how are you different in 6 months than from how you are right now in a way that you're benefited? Like, yeah, how are you different? What's changed?
Well, I mean, I'm stronger and I trust myself more. And well, I guess too, I love myself more. That's always been a problem
Hmm.
because yeah, I grew up in an abusive home. So, I have a lot of complex trauma issues about that. And I noticed that uh, I thought I pretty much dealt with that, but this relationship really, really set me back, and it just brought back a lot of old stuff.
Hmm.
So,
So you love yourself more, you're
yeah.
trusting yourself more, you're stronger.
Well,
What about in the morning? What are you thinking of first thing in the morning and when you go to bed at night?
in the morning, I'm thinking about what I'm going to do with my day, and um, the things I need to prioritize and to, get my work done. And at night, boy, I didn't realize how much room that guy was taking up in my head. At night, I'm just thinking about snuggling up with my dog.
What's your dog's name?
Finn,
Pen?
Finn, Finn.
Oh, Ben, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Snuggling up with Ben. So now you're loving yourself more, you're trusting yourself more, you're stronger, you're thinking about what you want to do
Hmm.
um for the day, and you're thinking about snuggling up with your dog and just having a good night's rest. So it sounds like you're more focused on you. Like like the thoughts that you're having are more focused on you now instead of on him. Like 6 months from now, it's going to be all about you. You're going to be focused on you, what's important to you, what makes you happy, what you want to do, what you need, what's going to make you stronger, what's going to make you better. And now it's more about him, him, him. Is that correct?
Yep, that's true.
Okay. So in this coming week, what's something you can do? I'm not saying you're going to have the result of that you're going to have like in 6 months, but what's like one thing, one little tiny thing that maybe you can do to kind of create more space in your head for you and to take care of you and think about what you want, and that's going to make you stronger and make you happier.
I'm thinking I didn't go away.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know you're still there.
I'm stuck, Deanne.
It's okay. That's something you can think about. You can take
Mhm.
that question with you and ponder on it. And one thing I'd like to offer is, I'm sending these self-coaching questions out daily.
Mhm.
Maybe you can answer them with that in mind, with you in mind.
Mhm.
Like I have all the questions. So just in case you missed any of the questions from last week, I have them listed, the Monday through Friday questions. One is, if I could design, I really like the Monday one. If I could design my ideal life, what would it look like, and what steps can I take this week to start creating that reality? Right? So you can answer that question with you in mind. So now you have this new life of being single, and you get to create your life however you want it. You're single right now, but you may not always be single, right?
Mhm.
But you get to create, you get to come up with, you get to imagine whatever it is that you want. So what is it that you would want for yourself? And what is something you can do this week? And you've already started last week. You started meeting new people because you start going to the dog park, and now you're meeting new people. So maybe that's something you want, is new people, new healthy relationships, or to focus on like taking care of yourself, making yourself stronger. Like answer these weekly or these daily questions with you in mind. Do you see what I'm saying? And that can kind of start taking up more space in your brain for you, because you're thinking
Yeah,
about you. When you're answering the question, you have to think about you and what you want, and you're not thinking about him. So now you're creating more space in your brain for you. Now, yeah, you might go back, but the more you do it, the more you it's going to be easier, and then you might start taking up more and more and more and more space, and now you're thinking of you. So that's something you can do. You can use these self-coaching prompts to help push you toward thinking about you and what's best for you and the life you want and the things you deserve. What are your thoughts when you hear me say that?
yeah, um, yeah. I I'll have to admit that I haven't been. I I've had so much going on and so much on my mind and have not, you know, I haven't been able to do this the way I had really intended to when I signed up for it. So
Mm-hmm.
um, that's one thing I can do is I can put my mind to that and set aside some time for it and make it a priority.
Yeah.
Because I'm just kind of like, oh, I got to get to that. Oh, I got to get to that, and then it doesn't. But I've looked at all of them, and I'm like, yeah, I need to do this, and then stuff happens and it doesn't get done. So
Yeah.
yeah, I need to make that a priority and really set some time aside, for myself
Mm-hmm.
and do these things because I was really excited when I signed up. And what I did was, God, I don't know why I get so much weird stuff on my Facebook, which is where I find all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I signed up for way too much stuff. And it was just too much stuff coming in. And some of it looked like it might be helpful for me, but then other stuff when it came, it's like, no, no, this isn't what I want. So then I had
Yeah.
to sort through all the garbage that came in with the good stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, yeah. And I've gotten some really good stuff, and this was one of them that I really need to buckle down and do because
Yeah.
it's something just for me. And
And it's something that can help you with what you're actually going through.
yes.
Like answering these questions with you in mind, the way we just talked about it can be so helpful. And I'm gonna admit too, I haven't answered the questions daily
Hmm.
because sometimes I get busy, but sometimes let's just say it's Wednesday and I didn't do Monday or Tuesday. I might answer the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday questions on Wednesday, and
Yeah.
I'm still having time to think through all of those questions and get in and have the benefit of sitting down and just really thinking through it. So
Mhm.
even if you can't do it every single day, that's fine.
Yeah.
Do it when you can. And that's another reason why I started putting the questions in the check-ups, because I'm like, if I'm not answering them every single day, then either are other people. So it might be helpful for me to just have all the questions. You can screenshot or take a picture, and then now you have all the questions in one place. And then when you can sit and answer them, then you can just pull out the little screenshot or go back to your emails and just answer the questions. Yeah.
Oops.
So, okay, we have someone who joined us, Yah the Creator. Would you like to tell us your name and where you're logged in from?
Hey, good morning. I'm Joya. I was here last week. I'm checking in from Chicago.
Okay, welcome back, Joya. I'm glad that you were able to join us. And so
Yes.
we just basically did a recap of last week, which and some reflection questions on how we were able to um, apply the slight edge to this week. And then now we're just moving on into this week. So I do have an activity for us to do this week, um, which is taking, like, when you think of your actions last week, um, well, first of all, this activity is kind of built off of the Thursday question. The Thursday question is, are your actions this week or last week, the actions that you took last week, were they driven by stress or like negative emotion, or were they driven by your long-term dream? Were you making decisions based off of stress, overwhelm, just like the craziness of life? Or were you making a lot of decisions based off of this goal that you have for this challenge or a long-term dream that you want to work toward? And so I thought that was kind of a powerful question. And I noticed I had some actions that I took, like maybe a little short list that were actions that had to do with my dream, but the longer list of things, the longer list of actions that I was taking were due to like feeling stressed or overwhelmed or just negative energy. And so I kind of wanted to bring that awareness to us in an activity today and kind of give you a chance to think which actions that you took last week that were driven by stress or negative emotions, and which actions were driven by your desire to accomplish your goal. Does anything come up for you guys? I know for me, like I was telling Tammy that I ate a whole bunch of sugar, and you know that my goal is to stop eating sugar. So I ate a whole bunch of sugar, but I noticed that I was eating sugar after 8:30, at night. So now I'm gonna have a goal of to stop eating after 8:30 because I make good decisions, but then when nighttime hits, this is like I go crazy in the kitchen and make a bunch of poor choices. And so just thinking about the stress of things that kind of go on in my life, things I need to do, the busyness of everything, I feel like I was just stress eating, right? And so some of my decisions were based off of stress, but then also I hit my goal of going to the park five five times to walk. I worked out 5 times. I got 5 walks in, and I did trails with heels. So I was actually getting some cardio in. And so I was doing both, but I was doing more of the stress, taking actions based off of stress than taking actions based off of what my dream is and what my goal is. And so what I wanted to know from you guys is when you think of this coming week and you're thinking of your goal that you want to accomplish, I believe, Joya, you have a blog and you want to write a blog each week. And then Tammy, you want to get over your relationship. So when you think of your specific goal in the upcoming week, what actions do you need to take to get closer to accomplishing your challenge goal? So I want to give you like a couple minutes to write those goals down. And then if you'd like to share, I'd love to hear it. And then once you've written them down, I'll give a couple minutes, but once you've written them down and you've really thought of what actions you need to be taking this week, um, raise your hand or do an emoji so that I can know that you're done. Okie dokie. All right, so you guys have gotten some actions. Anybody want to share what you need to do? I need to meal plan and keep going to the park. That's what I need to do. Um, and grocery shop and, you know, find short workouts so I don't feel like I have to be in the gym for an hour. But anybody else want to share what they feel like they need to do this week?
So I did do my blog post last week, and I've been thinking of my blog post for this week. So one thing I noticed is I probably want to work on like creating some type of structure that goes along with my Facebook group, so that when I am dropping posts, it's like, I might have been dropping notes or tips or journal prompts all week on like things that relate to the blog post. So that's something I just kind of like thought of. That way, when I am trying to write, I'm like, okay, well, this is what I've been talking about. So, let's work on this, because ultimately I do know that my goal is to help others with similar personal issues be able to, find ways to navigate. So if I go about sharing things on a daily basis and then drop a blog post, to kind of sum it all up, I feel like that'll help me really knock my posts out the way I want to and be more like consistent without feeling like, oh my gosh, I have to do it versus like I want to do it.
So it's almost like you might have weekly topics and then you'll
Yeah.
have small, and then you'll have like posts about kind of like the topic, but then the big, like the blog will kind of summarize the topic and give a little bit more insight. And so
Yeah.
you only have to think of one topic per week, but instead of being all over the place, like a million different posts, and then I got to come up with a blog. It's just like,
Yeah, exactly. Like, and it's crazy you said a weekly topic, because I literally wrote, pick a weekly theme to focus sharing about. And then I was like, since my goal is to help others with similar personal issues, I can start sharing as I progress, like the steps, the techniques, just sharing little stories. Like last week, I actually opened up about um, a moment where I was like really battling strong suicidal thoughts just because how life was feeling for me. And I'm actually on my way to a suicide prevention walk. So it's like, how life just kind of comes full circle. Like you share certain things and then different doors open. And I feel like that's probably going to be my next blog post, because seasonal depression is coming up. And
yeah,
I know that I am a person that normally battles with it strongly, but I also was telling my mom how yesterday was my grandfather's birthday, and he passed away in 2020. And in the first year since he's passed away, this is the first year where I was just like, oh my gosh, like, happy heavenly birthday, but I'm not going to cry today. I'm okay. And that felt good. Like, just making it through half of September with more good days than bad out of the first four, like, for the first time in 4 years, it's like, okay. So it's like, yeah, let me share these things so other people can,
yeah.
And to the lady that is also on here that is navigating a breakup, I
Mhm.
literally am a year and a half out of a breakup. I'm still trying to figure some things out. I'm still like, some things I've just come to peace with. If you would like to join the safer space, you can. If you ever want to connect with me, you can. Just because like I understand how it is to go from like being wrapped up in a world with somebody and then like your whole world is just your own world. But let me tell you something. When it becomes your own world, girl, it's whew, you can be like, that relationship, I was crying about that. That's crazy. Like it feels good when you get to the other side. I will say that. So keep going. You got
Yeah,
this.
Thank you. What's your
yeah.
Facebook space?
It's called The Safest Space, TheSafestspace. Everything is all one word.
The safest space?
Yes.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
Yes.
That out.
I
Thank
love
you very
this.
much.
I love the way you guys are connecting and supporting each other. That's what this check-in is for. We need to support each other. We have these goals, we have these things we want to do, and it's so easy to get distracted and like thrown off track. And so that's what I want this to do. I want this to be a space where we can support each other, give each other ideas, and just like inspire each other to move forward.
That was so serendipitous that she would join us.
I
Yeah.
almost forgot. I was like,
Well,
girl, you missing class.
you remembered at the perfect time though, because then you got to come in here and hear us and yeah.
Yeah,
So
everything's always on time.
it is. Did you have anything that you wanted to share, Tammy, about the actions you want to take next week? Or it's okay if you don't, it's fine.
Well,
Just want
I just want to, I want to remember to stay focused on why the breakup's actually a good thing for me. And I'd like to, I'd like to find ways to try to take care of myself. I really generally don't like doing things alone. So, I have to learn how to do that again and try to think of maybe little things I can do for myself, even if it's just to go out to eat or uh, just little small things that I can do that will get me out of the house and uh, and distract me from all that. And I just need to take better mental care of myself, more
yeah.
self-love,
You said more so love.
more self-love.
Oh, more self-love. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. And have you thought of some things? I know you're going to the dog park. You mentioned going out to eat. Joya, if you have any ideas of things that maybe
Eventbrite. Eventbrite is your best friend. Get on Eventbrite and look up things in your area for that day, that weekend, that week, things that are free, and just start going out. It's gonna seem odd the first time you do it, but eventually you realize a lot of people go out by themselves. And honestly, it's it's like when you go out by yourself and you get to spend that time by yourself, it's like you get to move when you want to move. You're not on nobody else's time, nobody else's dime, none of that. Like it's it's such a freeing type of feel. But do things like if you like movies, Tuesdays, go. I just started getting back into movies and I want to see this one movie I keep hearing about on TikTok. So I'm like, ooh, let me see where it's showing at. And I'm gonna buy me some tickets on Tuesday because Tuesdays are normally the cheap days in Chicago. And I'm gonna go to the movies. I'm probably gonna go by myself. 9 times out of 10, too, though. A lot of the things I've been wanting to do by myself when I'm getting ready to go, a girlfriend will call me and I'll tell her about it. She's like, okay, I might meet you there. And if she doesn't, cool. But when you start doing things by yourself and you make the plans with yourself, you get to add people if you want to.
Mhm.
Like that's the thing that I've learned that comes with being single is you get to decide who gets to join your world. Like, because at the end of the day, we all live in our own worlds. Like everybody is the main character in their world. And sometimes people tend to think like, once you're in a relationship, somebody does kind of become a main character in your world as well. But once they leave, that doesn't take away your main character. That's still your movie, girl.
and you get to
So
write it to be the way you want it to be.
literally, so the next day you could be like, well, he was in this movie yesterday, but today I'm waking up and this scene is all about me. And it's about what I want to do. If you want to wake up and go have a smoothie and then take your dog to the park and then take your dog back home and just go for a walk or something like that, that's your choice. Because guess what? You don't have nobody like, hey, where you at, babe? You don't, nope. You're a free woman. You're doing whatever you want to do. And
Oh, go ahead.
another thing I also want to remind you during this time, give yourself grace. Take it one day at a time, 1 minute at a time, 1 second at a time if you have to. And if you have moments where you're doing stuff and you want to cry, cry. Let it out. Allow yourself to feel every feeling that shows up because the only way that you get through it is by going through it. You can't go around it, none of that, because then it's still gonna you're gonna be like, dang, I thought I passed that up 3 days ago, and now it's back even more potent. And you're like, okay, well, I ain't got a choice. But allow yourself to feel everything. Because when you feel it in that moment, it's like, okay. And once you feel it, ask yourself, now what do I want to do with this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I just remembered I think there's a Pride Fest going on
See?
weekend, and there's a group that I go to, a meetup group, and they're going to have a booth at the Pride Fair. So I thought, hey, I'll know some people there, and should be interesting.
Yeah.
Great. Go out and
You can even help them
network.
work the booth. Be like, hey, y'all need some help?
Yep.
You start finding things that like you're interested in, your hobbies, what you like to do, not what you and whoever like to do, but what you like to do by yourself. Start getting into those things, volunteering for stuff like that. Like just finding who you are again as an individual, so that whenever you do, because like I said, you might get in another relationship, but when you're in that relationship, you still want to remain the individual that you are. That's one thing I've learned and I'm learning. Like, I'm only 29, but I just did, well, I keep saying just did, like it was a real big for real, but I was in a relationship for 10 years. So I've done most of my 20s with someone, and then one day they decided they don't want to be with me, and they're actually in a whole new relationship, and it is moving beautifully. And I love that for him. I always told him, if I can't make you happy, I always want you to be happy. And it took me a long time to actually really be happy for him, because I was
Yeah.
like, well, damn, it just moved on fast. But I also was like, people grow apart, things change. And once I came to a lot of terms with those things, I was okay. Write letters. And you don't even have to give the letter to him. Write the letter, burn it, write on a plate. Like, you do things to release literally any feelings that you have. Let them, like, allow yourself to feel them and let them go. Release them. Don't foster them. Do not allow yourself to hold on to them. When you're going through a breakup, one thing that I had learned is sometimes a breakup is really done for you.
Yes.
And it's like you
Mm-hmm.
don't see it in the moment, but afterwards it's like it's done for, because this is bring you back to self-love. You're learning how to love yourself again. Would you have done that in a relationship for real? Because if you
And then
wouldn't have, it would have been doing, happening. So
a good question you could ask yourself, instead of why did this happen to me? Why has this happened for me?
mm-hmm.
Ask that question. Why has this happened for me? And how am I benefiting now that I am out of this relationship? Those are kind of questions you can ask yourself, because when you ask your brain questions, it's going to come up with answers. So if you're sitting there like, oh, why did he leave me?
Yeah.
Well, your brain's going to tell you a bunch of things that make you feel horrible, right? It's going to answer the question. So be mindful of what you're asking yourself. Why did this happen for me? Well, because I deserve better, and because I want this, and this wasn't working. And do you see what I'm saying? Like, your brain is going to come up with answers, but be mindful of the things that you're asking your brain. So if you find yourself feeling like, or your brain is like thinking another negative thoughts, ask it, well, why did this happen for me though? Like, how am I benefiting now? And
Mm-hmm.
your brain will come up with answers,
Mm-hmm.
and those answers will be beneficial. So I'm wondering, you guys, because we're at the end, how are you guys feeling today after today's check-in? I know I'm feeling inspired. I'm feeling inspired, and I'm feeling, oh, I don't know what another word is. I just love.
This is the word, Will, we talked about. I'm so happy you brought this up.
I love how you guys are supporting each other. So I feel excited. I don't know if the word is excited. Let me look at this.
To be honest, like, I'm looking at joyful, and it's crazy because I have the word liberated tattooed on the back of my neck. And I actually tattooed that, I think, last year or 2 years ago. But that's really how I'm feeling right now. Like, just the way things have been going lately, like, that is really how I feel. And like, even just being in a space where, like, for example, I feel like this was just an example of everything that I've been working towards. Like, me saying, like, things that I've been through, being able to share it with the next person. I don't know this lady from a can of paint. The only thing I got on to her was she going through a breakup and she working on self-love. I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, this. And when you said, do I have any advice? It was like, my throat was itching. I'm like, girl, give it a second. Like, wait. But it's like that's how I want to feel when it comes to blogging and everything. Like, I'm just so happy, like, just to be in this space, like, and to be able to pour into other people and they be receptive of it as well. Cause it's like, I really, ma'am, I don't know you, but I want you to make it through this breakup and know that your heart, even if your heart was broken, it was not broken into pieces. Okay. It was more like you shedded the skin of a snake that just stayed for a little too long. That's really what this is. And when you see it, like the day you see it that way, the next person you see going through something like that, I want you to tell it to them just like that so they understand, like, baby, this is just the beginning of a new life. Like a life that you don't even understand is on the other side of that door.
Yeah.
Like I just feel so good. And then like just knowing I'm about to go to this walk, and I didn't plan this at all. My friend asked me about this yesterday. She just asked me, can I be up at 9 a.m.? And I knew I had to be up at 9 a.m. for something anyway. So I was like, sure.
Awesome.
So, feeling very optimistic. Like, this feels great.
How are you feeling, Tammy?
I am feeling hopeful and important.
Yes. I love that. You are important, especially to us. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm glad you came. You're going to get through this. You can use this challenge to help you through it. We're definitely here. I'm going to be here every single week.
Okay.
So you can get this support every single week.
And my final tip, challenge those negative thoughts with positive affirmations. Challenge those. Oh, and another thing, if you do get thoughts in your head that start with what if, tell yourself, these are not my thoughts. Why do they matter? Because I've been learning when thoughts come up as what if, that's literally the negative trying to get started to send you on a spiral. Once you catch it, as soon as like for example, it's like, well, what if he left? What if he did? Okay. And this is not my thought. So what are we doing? Like, why are we here? Like, literally talk to your negative thoughts like that. Like, and think about, would you talk to your very best friend like that? Would you talk to your goodest girlfriend like that? And if you wouldn't talk to her like that, do not allow yourself to talk to yourself like that.
Yes.
Because you are your very best friend, your goodest girlfriend first. You can't be that person to nobody else if you can't be it to yourself.
That's true.
Yep. And you got to keep your brain occupied. When it's not occupied, it goes down the tunnel of hurt. But when it's occupied, whether it's reading a book or watching a movie or getting out and meeting people or journaling and doing these self-coaching prompts, like your brain needs to be occupied. Even asking it, even if you're like thinking of him and you're feeling negatively, like I said, asking your brain, why did this happen for me though? And how am I benefiting for this? Like keeping it occupied and like she said, with positive, even that's why I include quotes. Some of the quotes are positive to get you thinking deeper, and then you can answer the question better. So I encourage you to keep your brain occupied, focused on doing that, and doing what you're doing, like getting out, meeting people. You said you thought of an event. Like I look forward to connecting with you next week, or even maybe getting an email from you, just hearing how things are going.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to thank you guys for attending, and I will be looking forward to connecting with you guys next week. And
yes, thank you for holding this space.
You're welcome, for sure. And I will be sending out these questions every day. So be checking your email.
Alrighty.
All right.
You guys have a good day. Have a good weekend.
All right, you as well.
Thanks. Bye.